Hey, this is Kris Krohn with REI TV, and today we're going to talk about the best strategy for paying off your mortgage the fastest. So you've got two different approaches that I'm going to share today on how you can pay off a house. It is either to do it with the bank or without the bank. Let's talk about with the bank. Listen, if you get a typical mortgage, let's call it a 30-year mortgage, then you understand the way amortization schedules work. Banks are going to charge you interest like crazy on the first half of paying down the house. And on average, over 30 years, by the time you've paid off your house, do you know how many times you've paid for it? Close to 3 times, at least 2.5. Now just think about that for a little bit. That means that 95% of the money that you're paying on your very first payment, 95% of that is going all towards interest. And what the bank is basically doing is they're saying, all right, let's say that you're going to live in your house for 7 of 30 years. I'm going to make sure that for the first 7 years, we as the bank get to capitalize on charging you as much interest as possible, which it means that you're really not paying down that house. So if you want to play the bank's game, it kind of stinks. You're going to have to pay off that house almost 3 different times. Now, some of you are thinking, you know what though, Kris? I'm going to get on a 15-year mortgage. I'm going to pay a few $100 extra a month. And then all of a sudden you're doing for the first 7 years is you're still giving the bank a pile of interest. I love to pay off my houses in a 5 or a 10-year period of time as opposed to 30. And to do that, we do that as real estate investors. So step number 1, I want you to actually buy a house loaded with equity. What do I mean? Don't just buy a home, buy a house. Buy a house that if it's worth $200,000, buy it for $160,000. Why? Well, think about it. You just got it $40,000 below the market. That's equivalent to paying on that house for already the first 7 years. Check, smarter, faster, we're beating the bank at their game. Okay, what's the next step? If you live in that house for 7 years, then in time, if you bought it with equity, you can do a home equity line of credit. You can borrow the equity out of that house or use some other reserves, 401ks, IRAs, whatever, and go buy another house. What do you do when you buy that next house? Well, I'm buying a house with another $40,000. Then I get to cash flow that house. I get to make money on it. And then what do? I take the money out of those 2 houses and I put it into a third house. Whoa, Kris. I'm going deeper into debt to pay off my house? Yeah, because in 5 years, I'm going to sell off the 5 houses. I'm going to create a couple $100,000. Now I can pay off my house and have $50,000 in the bank as opposed to your 15-year or your 30-year strategy. Listen, to understand what I'm saying, you got to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. Right now, your house, it is not an investment. If it's a home that you live in, it's a consumer product. You're consuming it. In fact, to get your house paid off, you're going to pay for it 3 times over. That's a little bit crazy. And I would call that a bad debt. Why is it a bad debt? Because every month it costs you, and let me ask you, does your house produce a cash flow for you? Is it an asset making you money this month? If it's like most people's homes, it's not, which means that it is a bad debt. If I buy the house and I have equity in it and I pull the equity out and I put it into another house that produces a cash flow, it is also a debt. Same word, but 2 total opposite meanings. One's good and one's bad. This bad debt we first talk about, why is it bad? It costs me money. Who wants to pick up liabilities that cost money? But now I'm buying assets and this good debt is producing a positive cash flow, tax benefits. I'm stepping into equity. I'm controlling that real estate for a short period of time. And how am I going to pay it off? Not with a mortgage of 30 or 15 years. I'm going to own it for a period of time. I'm going to sell it and I'm going to cash in on the money. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to eliminate my debts. So you've got a couple of different roads that you can go down with if you want to get your mortgage paid off. And now I want to just share a little bonus for you. For those of you that are saying, Kris, my house is already paid off 20, 30, 50, 70%. How could I do it faster? Let's just make an assumption. Let's just say for a moment that you've been living in your house and let's say you've got 5 years left on it. You've been paying on it for maybe 10 or 15 or 25 years on a 30-year mortgage and you just got 5 years left. And you're like, Kris, man, I'm at this point where I only have $25,000 or $50,000 left. And I would ask you, it's like, would you like to pay it off in half the time? How would you do that? Take a step backwards to go into good debt to move several steps forward faster. For example, take equity out of that home to buy 2 other homes. If I produce $40,000 of equity on this house and $40,000 of equity here, plus I put 20% down and 20%, I now have 2 half paid off houses. I can control them, cash flow them, and in 2 years, I sell them off. And I get all of my money back that I can reapply to my mortgage, but I got 50 grand left over here, 50 grand left over here. That's $100,000. Now, instead of you waiting a few more years to have it paid off, all of a sudden what you have is you have a pile of money that you can play with. You see, it all comes down to this concept of why you want it paid off. Are you in it for the security, or are you in it for the financial freedom? And good debt and bad debt honestly comes down to that differentiation. Let me ask you, if you do get yourself out of debt, can you eat no debt? No. You paid off all your debts. Does that produce food for you? Does that allow you to travel, visit the grandkids? Doesn't allow you to do any of that. So having no debt is a level of financial security. I'm sharing with you that good debt produces the next level, which is I have no debt and I have a residual income. I have a pile of houses that keep on making money for me. You see, you've really got to ask yourself this question. What do you value more? I could either write you a check and pay off all your debts, or I could give you $10,000 a month for the rest of your life. Which would you rather have? If you would rather have the cash flow for life, then getting out of debt is only a level of financial freedom, and it's not your end goal. If you say, Kris, I just want to have no debt, fine. I don't know if you can live off of no debt. When you get clear on what you want on this idea, then get smarter. Beat the banks at their game. Step into piles of equity. Control houses. Produce cash flow. And use that to pay down your houses way, way faster and get yourself out of debt in record time. So listen, if you're interested in knowing how you can save potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars on paying off your mortgage, one of the things that I would invite you to do is subscribe to this channel. But when you click on the link below, you'll also discover one of our upcoming courses that we teach. It's 3 days. It is our Limitless Wealth Intensive, and it's on how you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars on getting your mortgage paid off.